And we're back.
Finally.
Welcome to 2022. Happy New Year, Phil.
Thank you. Feels like we've been off for ages and ages.
Well, you have. Holidays, illness, holidays, Christmas, illness. And where are you going week after next?
It's a secret, so depends where this is going. My wife might listen to... My wife won't listen to our podcast,
No,
will
she won't. No chance. But somebody might tell her, I suppose. We won't say anything.
No, we won't.
So
You
we're
shouldn't have
here.
said that.
We're here for another episode of Agency Affairs, where we comment on the news stories. But the news stories actually are a bit thin this week, unless we're going to talk about Prince Andrew, which I'd rather not do.
I don't know anything about Prince Andrew, so let's not. But
Good.
Some news is the podcast on the 31st of December came out. If you haven't listened to it, you can't watch it. If you haven't listened to it, then please do and let us know your thoughts. If you have listened to it, please let us know what you think. It was quite a heavy... How long was it? Half an hour?
40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Something a little bit different, wasn't it?
Very important, though. Very important to listen to.
What were the figures like, Isaac?
It was quite low because because everybody was enjoying alcohol on Christmas. I think everybody was listening to Spotify rather than some podcasts.
Right.
Everybody's going to be out on their runs,
Maybe
though,
need
now,
to-
on the treadmills.
Maybe we need to push it this week
Absolutely.
because it is a very important message that maybe isn't spoken about enough.
So, back to the news
Other
reports
news.
of the week. Other news.
Other
In other
news.
news.
We are on the search for Mr. PB. And if you know who this person is, please let us know.
We think it's a Mr, but we're not sure.
So who is PB first?
We think it's a Mr in his 50s.
An infamous...
The infamous PB, P-E-E-B-E-E, the anonymous commenter.
And what we'd like is PB to do a podcast with us, and you can stay anonymous. You can stay with your,
What's that guy off Top Gear called?
the Stig.
It's like the Stig.
Yeah, got to wear a helmet.
Yeah.
Just
That'd
out
be
of
quite
intrigue,
cool.
really. We have some cool podcasts coming up. Some people that are really cool that you probably haven't heard of, and some people that are really cool that you definitely have heard of. So,
Including us.
yeah, we're the cool people you haven't heard of.
Right, let's dive into these news stories. Phil hasn't seen any of these, so I just picked up a few and to see what he thinks of them. So first of all is Omicron set to hit viewings and housing market in 2022. But then it just says, it's a bit of a weak report. This is the EAT, but the surge in Omicron cases and possible future restrictions are set to hit the housing market in 2022. How can possible future restrictions hit the housing market? Because it's just possible.
And there are going to be no restrictions that will affect the housing market in a negative way.
That's true too. It is a bit of a rubbish report actually, because it says the outlook remains extremely uncertain. The strength of the market surprised in 2022, which is an odd turn of phrasing.
It didn't act surprise after the strength of 2021.
And could do so again in the year ahead, Phil. The market still has significant momentum, and shifts in housing preferences as a result of the pandemic could continue to support activity and price growth. So what is it saying? It doesn't know what it's saying.
Well, the writer needed to get an article out.
I
I
think
think the impact in the next 4 to 6 weeks will be on staff and probably cancel viewings as people test positive. I don't think there'll be an impact in terms of weakening of the market.
I think people are taking it a lot less seriously than they ever have done before. People are going, yeah, I've had it, got it. It doesn't seem to be...
On the t-shirt.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be the big thing that it once was. People are a lot less fearful. I mean, we went to a panto, didn't we, the other day, and although there was a masks required sign, nobody was wearing masks. So people, I think, are just a bit fed up of it.
I was, because my face was cold.
But the rest of you was hot. And you
Yeah.
couldn't move your knees. Oh, no, you couldn't. It's a record. House prices end 2021 on a high. The Nationwide says that annual house price growth increased to 10.4% in December from 10% in November, making 2021 the strongest calendar year for house price growth since 2006.
How's London going?
I haven't got London, sorry.
It's
It
almost
just said-
like the rest of the country's catching up to London.
It said there was a London surge for apartments, but I don't know why that would be. The average priced home in the UK is 254,000.
It's possibly that just that more apartments are coming up for sale
Maybe.
as people try
Over
and
the
get
year.
out.
Well, no, it's demand for apartments. Over the year, with Wales, the strongest performing region over the year, and London the weakest. But Wales had the strongest restrictions, didn't it? So maybe that's why. But it did say London had the weakest. Demand has remained strong in recent months, despite the end of the stamp duty holiday. Didn't really affect us, did it? In the first 11 months of 2021, first 11 months, so up to November, the total number of property transactions was almost 30% higher than in the same period of 2019, said Nationwide. That's interesting, isn't it? And the Northwest saw the strongest growth of the regions in Northern England, with annual house price growth of 11%. We've seen about 20% here, haven't we?
Yeah, in some properties we've seen 30-40%. I'd say the average is around 15-20.
Depends who's valuing it.
Does, yeah.
Depends how much we want it.
It depends how many other agents are in. Some have doubled, haven't they?
Transactions to be easier and faster soon, says conveyancing guru. I think this is wishful thinking, really. This is Lloyd Davis.
A sales pitch.
Yeah, MD and founder of specialist residential practice Convey Law and a former director of the Conveyancing Association, says reform will be cross-industry in the next 12 months. Have heard this a few times in the last 20 years. He's proposing that we create legal contract packs, which sounds suspiciously like the home information packs that were touted a few years ago. The biggest problem, really, with trying to get this information ahead of time is lenders accepting it. Because you can do searches. I mean, the seller can do their own searches, can't they?
Yeah.
And they can get their own survey. But if a lender won't accept it, then what's the point?
Well, I guess the lenders would have to accept it.
Well, they do in Scotland, don't they?
Yeah.
But then that then reflects lower house prices.
I agree with the legal pack. Well, I mean, modern auctions have legal packs prior to you put an offer in. As we've recently found out, once you put that offer in and you win the auction, you exchange at that moment as the hammer comes down. So there is a way of doing it. It definitely needs improved. I think everyone understands that you shouldn't. We've got one that's been going on 9-10 months. That shouldn't be acceptable.
Well, that's the buyer, though, isn't it?
That is the buyer, and it shouldn't be acceptable to drag someone along for 3 months and pull out last day. It's something. It doesn't happen in any other industry. It can't happen without some kind of
Bond,
deposit,
commitment of some kind. If the first commitment is the searches at, say, 150 quid or whatever, then it's not exactly a big commitment, is it?
So something's going to give, isn't it?
I was thinking that maybe, the buyer pays stamp duty. I can't see the reasoning for that. Why doesn't the seller pay the stamp duty out of potentially their profits on the house? Or why don't they share the stamp duty, which I know they do sometimes informally, but formally and officially, the buyer is responsible for the stamp duty.
And you're saying it'll...
No, I'm just saying that why would the seller be responsible for the stamp duty? Because they've made the profit.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but effectively, it would make no difference to the market because the extra money would go on the price of the house.
It would make the
go the other
property
way.
more affordable.
Yeah, but the property value would come down. It would go up.
Go up.
So it wouldn't be more affordable. It would actually, in a few years' time, it would equal itself out, but it wouldn't be any different.
It's more just the responsibility. I just think I don't understand why a buyer has to then pay to buy something, whereas the seller should really pay to sell something.
Yeah, I'm sure they've thought it through. People clever than
I'd
you
like
and
let
I.
them know. Okay. Agency selling homes for free rolls out nationwide. So this is Strike. What is their business model then? Do they sell advertising on their website? Conveyancing, don't they?
They sell at
services.
the back end, yeah.
Yeah, sell for
mortgages
free services.
and etc. We've seen. Well, firstly, I don't think it's a bad thing for the industry. It's another option. I don't think options are bad for any industry. As much as we or you possibly dislike the fact that someone's offering to do it for free.
You don't mean me, do you?
What?
Do you mean our listeners?
Yeah, no, my hand opened to suggest who I was inviting the comment
You know,
towards.
this is audio.
Well, it's also been filmed.
Yeah, they can't see your hand there.
The hand opened towards the camera like this. I can't remember what I was saying. What was I saying?
They might not like, they being the audience, might not like
Like what?
Strike selling
Oh
property
yeah,
for free.
yeah. As people don't like purple bricks, etc., because it's potentially goes against your business and takes money off you. But it's good for the industry as another option, and we all know that it is extremely difficult, almost impossible. We'll find out in the next few years to run a profitable business offering free front end.
We'll see.
Or even offering it £1,000 front end and mine free. So, yeah. But you've got to admit that their TV advert where it says "sell your house for free" is, say, striking.
It's compelling.
It's compelling. It is, and it will get some traction initially, as Purple Bricks did.
It used to be House Simple, which is one of the first onlines.
It was.
And they said that they were the fastest growing estate agency in the UK in terms of market share of new instructions by property data consultancy 20EA. The share of instructions went from 0.65% to 1%. So yeah, grew by half. Increase of 2/3 it says actually, which I'm not sure is technically correct. Yeah, it is actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
This suggests it was boosting market share 3 times faster than its nearest rival is Hart. Why is its nearest rival Hart? But 20EA, whoever they are,
It's not. It can't be hard.
it can't be.
If Strike is national,
Yeah. Well, Hart is national.
well, it's not. It's not. You can't get Hart here,
No, but
but you can get Strike here.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, it doesn't. It's not literally nationwide, is it?
It's
20EA
arguably Purple Bricks.
suggested that Strike's gain was largely at the expense of Purple Bricks, Yopa, Winkworth, and Hamptons. Weird. Okay, so Hortons. Who are Hortons? Oh, Hortons, as in Adam Horton.
Oh,
Yeah, I just realised who it was. Forget the Boxing Day bounce, as selling in the new year is far better, claims Hortons. So this is, I presume it's Adam. Hortons rejects the idea that there is a surge of interest in buying homes on Boxing Day and believes this marketing strategy is detrimental to property sellers because the first working day in January, which is today by the way, creates a spike in traffic, leading to one of the busiest days since mid-September, which was the peak of the buoyant autumn market. So they said, on average, 50% of the inquiries and interest any property receives happens in the first 2 weeks. This means it's essential to time the launch of a property in line with the uplift in traffic and inquiries. What do you think about that, Phil? Because we do have a Boxing Day bounce.
we do. I think it's important to have an angle to your marketing, depending on what that is. Whether that is a Boxing Day launch, a first week in January launch, doesn't quite have the same ring to it. As long as you have the data to back up your argument, I don't mind having different arguments. What I would say is that the graph shown, although peaks on the first few days of January, there's also a clear spike on Boxing Day. So if you launch on Boxing Day, you get both spikes.
I was about to say the same thing.
And going off data, what we've got, and bear in mind we haven't launched any today, that I would strongly disagree with the argument that it's detrimental to property value, to the sale price, for the amount of viewings that we've got for the properties
We're
we've
just
launched.
stacked out, aren't we? It's done really well for us.
Yeah.
Also, I think that we are creating, to some degree, the market.
We are, exactly. If no one ever launched property on Boxing Day, the figures would be even lower. And the reason that those emails go out with our 7 new properties on there, they click on Rightmove, the figures go up. So all those people may be going on to see our properties rather than having a much smaller share of people going on January to see all of them.
Well, last year we were one of the only agents that we knew that was doing this, and now lots and lots of agents throughout the UK, not just our members but other people as well, that aren't our members, our Firewave members, are also launching on Boxing Day. So I think it's going to create its own spike.
Yeah. So I'm absolutely cool with other people having a different angle and marketing point to say this is when you should launch. I'm not so sure you should argue against a specific day, especially when a lot of, I don't know if this is industry or actually he's done it openly and the industry news has taken it, but arguing it openly, a lot of people won't actually think that Boxing Day is a good day anyway. A lot of people we get to go on live on Boxing Day are always quite surprised that it's a good day, and therefore arguing against it to the open public probably isn't a great point, because they would probably consider it obvious anyway.
But I think that, Adam, you know, to have a strategy of any description for a launch around this time is usually a positive, as long as you haven't got the
around any
correlating
time,
negative.
as long as there's a clear angle.
It's a strong
to have
strategy,
a
isn't
launch point is always good.
Yeah, it reassures sellers.
Yeah, it does. It gets sellers off the fence.
Painful sitting on the fence. So we'll be back to do our agency affairs, maybe not next week, because we've got our annual planning with all our lovely Firewood members.
I'm in London.
Maybe
town.
the week after then.
And remember, these episodes are only as good as the stories we're given.
Yeah, come on, PB, come forward.
So if someone,
I'd love it to be a lady. Actually, I'd be really happy if it was a lady. I think some people
Lisa Curran.
do think they know who it is. So
If
maybe,
you think you know,
if you think you know, reach out to us.
maybe we should start a campaign. Who is PB?
Find PB. There was a Find Sid, wasn't there? Do you remember that? You probably before your time. British Gas advert. It was when British Gas went public, and they were launching the shares, and it was, has anyone seen Sid?
Why?
I can't remember the point of it now, but every single advert was, have you seen Sid? And it was different people asking if you've seen Sid. So eventually they found Sid. And it was something to do with the shares. Can't even remember.
Olivia says, "Hey guys, Happy New Year."
Happy New Year,
Hey,
Olivia.
Happy New Year. See you next week.
And Darren Hunt says, "I'm sure the experts at Rightmove will agree with the Boxing Day thought process."
Yeah, I think so too. Thank you very much. Do either of you two know PB? You sure it's not PJ in disguise?
It was actually BPJ before PJ. Before I existed in this world, it was PB was a thing. I remember because the article which said about us launching, I think PB made a comment.
Yeah, I think he did.
So
I think he might have made a comment when I did the illegal viewing as well in lockdown.
probably.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a man. I'd love to be proven wrong though. Well, that's it for another episode of Agency Affairs. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye for now.